So, there have been a few interesting stories recently when it comes to Hillary Clinton and her potentially running for the president of the United States in 2016. And we've talked about some of this on the show before. Is a Hillary Clinton nomination inevitable? If so, what does that mean not only for progressives, but also for those who identify merely as Democrats? And look, I have to say, I hate having to talk about this now. I hate having to talk about this in 2014. But look, folks, the wheels are in motion. And as progressives, I don't think we could ignore that fact. I don't think if we don't pay attention to this now, anything we want to try to do is going to be too late. So there have been a handful of interesting articles lately, and I'm not even referring to a Guardian interview with Hillary Clinton where she said the following about NSA whistleblower Edward Snowden. She said, quote, "Whether he chooses to return or not is up to him. But if he is serious about engaging in the debate, then he could take the opportunity to come back and have that debate. But that's his decision," end quote. Yeah, of course, because Edward Snowden would totally get a fair trial here in the United States, considering he's going to be tried under the Espionage Act. Yeah, he could totally come back here. He could come back here and have that debate behind bars. I mean, the media will have tons of access to Edward Snowden while he's in prison. But really, it's his decision. If he wants to have that debate, he should come back to America, go to jail, and have that debate with his prison bunkmate, or something like that. I mean, it's ridiculous. It's not surprising, but it's ridiculous. But that's not even one of the articles I wanted to talk about. I just wanted to mention that because it happened, and it upset me, and it's ridiculous. But that's not even one of the big articles I'm talking about here. So the first one is actually a New York Times piece, which asks, are neocons getting ready to ally with Hillary Clinton? I'm not kidding. That's the actual article. And it's great, though, isn't it? Let's read a little bit from the article. This is first about talking about Hillary and Iraq. Quote, "Even as they castigate Mr. Obama, the neocons may be preparing a more brazen feat, aligning themselves with Hillary Rodham Clinton and her presidential campaign in a bid to return to the driver's seat of American foreign policy." End quote. What can you say to that? Neocons see Hillary Clinton as a viable option of getting their ideology back into power. And look, she did vote for the Iraq War. She certainly is a hawk. I want to read another part here. This, again, is from the New York Times here. Quote, "Malk Salter, a former chief of staff to Senator McCain and a neocon fellow traveler, said that in the event of a Rand Paul nomination, quote, Republican voters seriously concerned with national security would have no responsible recourse but to support Mrs. Clinton for the presidency." End quote. And look, say what you will about Rand Paul, and you can say plenty. You can say plenty about Rand Paul. His foreign policy is not neoconservative. He's not a neocon. He's not. The truth is, Hillary's foreign policies are more in line with the neocons than Rand Paul's are. It may hurt some of you to hear that, but it is accurate when you actually look at their policies. So, pardon me, that's one article. The next is another piece on Hillary's relationship with Wall Street. Reading again from the New York Times, quote, "In her post-State Department life, she's been showered with lucrative speaking fees from Goldman Sachs, JP Morgan, and other financial firms. In her talks, she says it's unproductive to vilify the industry, and she avoids the kind of harsh language that puts off financial executives, as when President Obama referred to them as fat cat bankers in 2009. End quote. Man, that harsh rhetoric, that calling them fat cats. Oh my God, that's so hard because Obama really though, if you look at Obama, he's really been way too hard on Wall Street, hasn't he? I mean, look, just ask all of the Wall Street executives who've been prosecuted and who are in prison because of the financial crash. Oh, right, you can't ask them that because there aren't any. There aren't any. They're complaining about Obama hurting their feelings when, again, his policies have done nothing to stem Wall Street at all. This article is all about pushing back against progressive Populism. That's what this article is all about. In fact, Bill Daley, who is, of course, Barack Obama's former chief of staff, has a quote in the article. He says, quote, I think there is a potential window for Democrats to come back, but if it's one wing of the party pushing the populist line against big banks, punishing people whether or not they had anything to do with the crisis, they'll lock this crowd into a Republican alternative. End quote. And look, that's Barack Obama's former chief of staff. Oh, by the way, do you know what he's doing now? Do you know what Bill Daley's doing now? He's a hedge fund executive. He's a hedge fund executive. Again, it's ridiculous. And just how Hillary better not criticize Wall Street because that's bad. And look, the article quotes the centrist group Third Way, saying that economic populism like Elizabeth Warren would be, quote, disastrous for Democrats. Hillary actually gave a speech maybe a month and a half ago at Third Way. So, look, Hillary is very well in line with centrist corporate Democrats when it comes to Wall Street. So look, it's fun when you think about it, right? I mean, look, neoconservatives like Hillary Clinton. Wall Street likes Hillary Clinton. I'm sure that's going to be great going into the 2016 election. That's going to be great for Hillary Clinton, that she can say that Wall Street likes her when she's running. Isn't that going to be great? Isn't that going to be wonderful? Yeah, so look, so those are the first two articles. The last one to me is, however, the most interesting one, the one that has the most teeth, and frankly, to me, it's the most telling. So this is from the Wall Street Journal, and I'm going to read you a few paragraphs here. Here's the first one, quote, Hillary Clinton has begun distancing herself from President Barack Obama, suggesting that she would do more to woo Republicans and take a more assertive stance towards global crises, while sounding more downbeat than ever on her former boss about the U.S. economic recovery, end quote. Now look, listeners, you know that I am not at all nuts about the Obama presidency. In fact, saying that I'm down on the Obama presidency, it would be a hell of an understatement, a major, major understatement. You guys know, if you listen to the show, I go off on Obama constantly for being a corporatist, centrist Democrat. But for the love of God, Hillary Clinton is essentially saying that Barack Obama's problem is that he's not right-wing enough. He's not enough of a right-winger. What he needs to do is to reach out to Republicans. That's Obama's problem. Obama hasn't reached out enough to Republicans. That is what she's saying. That's what Hillary Clinton is saying. Madness, right? So, reading again from the Wall Street Journal, quote, Mrs. Clinton has said U.S. presidents must never stop courting Congress. Mr. Obama has questioned whether such efforts make any difference. Mrs. Clinton expressed skepticism of candidates with beautiful vision, while Mr. Obama still hammers his 2008 campaign mantra, hope. Hillary said, quote, I mean, some people can paint a beautiful vision, she told CNN last month, and thankfully we can all learn from that. But then can you, with the tenacity, the persistence, the getting knocked down, getting back up resilience, can you lead us there? End quote. That's Hillary Clinton again. So yeah, can you lead us there? Can you lead us there? Let me ask, where is there? Really, where do you want to lead us? Lead us where? What kind of progressive policy does Hillary think would be passed by the Republican House of Representatives if only Obama would lead? What specific legislation does Hillary think these Republicans would pass if only Obama would reach out to them more? What? I mean, look, this is such centrist corporatist crap. It is. I mean, look, we have to be honest here, and you all know this. The only policies Republicans are going to vote for are right-wing policies. Period. Hell, they've even voted against some right-wing policies just to spite Barack Obama. Friggin' Obamacare. Obamacare was a right-wing health care plan. It was developed by the bloody Heritage Foundation, for the love of God. And they still voted against it. It was a right-wing plan, and they voted against it. Hillary goes on to say in the Wall Street Journal, quote, My husband had some really serious problems with the Congress when he was in office. They shut the government down twice. They impeached him once. So it was not the most pleasant of atmospheres, but I will say this, Bill never stopped reaching out to them. End quote. So, let me ask, Hillary Clinton? Bill never stopped reaching out. What exactly did that get him? Even more importantly, what did that get the American people? I'll tell you what it got the American people. It got us a hell of a lot of right-wing corporatist laws and policies. That's what it got us. Right-wing laws, right-wing policies. Is Hillary talking about when Bill Clinton reached out to Republicans? What is she referring to? Is she talking about the time where he reached out to Republicans and he got passed and signed the repeal of the Glass-Steagall Act? Is that what she's talking about? Which led to the subprime mortgage crisis? Is that the reaching out that Hillary's talking about? Or maybe she's talking about when Bill Clinton deregulated the telecom industry, which led to all types of horrible crap. Is that what she's talking about? Or how about Don't Ask, Don't Tell? Or how about the Defense of Bloody Marriage Act that was signed by Democrat Bill Clinton? Is that it? Is that the reaching out she's talking about? Or how about the horrific Welfare Reform Act that Bill Clinton signed? Is that it? Is that the reaching out that she's referring to? If she's trying to say that it's possible for a Democrat to reach out to Republicans and get a ton of horrible right-wing legislation passed, well then, okay, I guess she does have a valid point. I mean, just look at her husband, Bill Clinton, right? Look, progressives, and even those of you who don't even identify necessarily as progressive, that just identify as, say, Democrats. I know you're smart enough to know. I know you are smart enough to know that no real progressive legislation is going to be passed by this Republican Party. You know that. You know that. You know that John Boehner and Eric Cantor, who Eric Cantor's going to be gone. He's replaced by a Tea Party person. You know that John Boehner. You know that Paul Ryan. You know that Republicans are not going to pass any legislation that comes anywhere close to being progressive. You know that. So, when Hillary Clinton says this, when she says that she is going to reach out more to Republicans, that she thinks one of the keys is that she needs to reach out and presidents need to reach out more to Republicans, when she says this, progressives and Democrats, you need to believe her. You need to believe her when she says this. Hillary Clinton believes she will get more done if she reaches out to Republicans. What she gets done will be horrible. It will be awful. It will be corporatist and right-wing, but at least she's getting something done, right? At least she's getting something passed, right? Maybe she will be able to get more austerity through, huh? Maybe she can cut Social Security, right? Maybe she can cut Medicare and Medicaid, huh? Wouldn't that be great? Maybe Hillary will be able to pass a ton of centrist, corporatist, right-wing legislation like her husband did. Maybe she can do that. Because you know what? That is what bipartisanship means in 2014. I'm sorry, but it's true. That's what it means. So when Hillary says she is going to reach out more to Republicans, and that's how she's going to be as president of the United States, you need to believe her. We'll be right back.